Yo, I'm in whatever USA, zip code so far away, can't remember the name, Google Map the locate. I'm chilling with some Notre Dame, show me how the South bends, and my dogs hold me down when we show up in Athens. Back then, we had dreams of being famous and shit, was such a rebel as a kid, I could've went to Ole Miss. I never stressed it anymore, you know I go with the vibe. My chick in Alabama told me I should roll with the tide. No lie, I'm such a Leo at Penn State, I'm a line. Got everyone coming after me, a Duke like I'm Zion. I know a Harvard girl, she always got a lot on her mind. She sent me a million texts, but yo, I hardly reply. You know why? Got a girl in Mississippi and Kentucky, and one in Vegas, so she always getting lucky. Ooh. But it don't matter where you came from, it just matter where you end up. If you end up with me, got a chick in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Don't gotta ask me who's your girl in Indiana. Ooh. But it don't matter where you came from, it just matter where you end up. If you end up with me. Yo, I'm in whatever USA, zip code don't wanna say, can't remember the name, new city like every day. Got women flashing me when I'm in Tulane, it ain't Mardi Gras. Out in Arizona, these wildcats wanna party hard. I feel like Van Wilder, I'm on my 7th year. I snap my fingers and women just appear. Let me make it clear, you and your friends attends, I'm down to volunteer. Pull up, climb in my Benz just like a mountaineer. I'm here for a minute, then I'm Gonzaga. Hardest working rapper, probably selling shows in Montana. Tell them hoes it don't matter, I go state to state like I'm transferring. NCAA, new chick, always answering. Got a girl in College Station down in Texas, and one in Memphis who remind me of my exes. Ooh. But it don't matter where you came from, it just matter where you end up. If you end up with me, got a girl in Tallahassee and Miami. She really loved me, told me I should win a Grammy. Ooh. But it don't matter where you came from, it just matter where you end up. If you end up with me.
Whatever USA. All American, all the hits.
Hello, and welcome. Switch over to something a little bit more appropriate, huh? There we go. We'll be with you in just a moment. I say we, it's just me. Apparent reason. There I go again. No audio. Hello. Welcome to Good Goose Inc., a channel where we normally dedicate ourselves to playing video games and chatting about world events and what our favorite movie is in regards to Easter egg. And what the fuck am I talking about? This isn't even the real me. Also, what is this song? Anyway, welcome to Nick Reed's Smut. Why are we doing this? Why not? You know? Again, is my face that reflective because I'm that sweaty? That's gross. Today we're going to be reading a bunch of online fan fiction, people's personal stories that get them off because. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I got it right here, so we're just gonna read off of it. It's just gonna be a very chill, relaxing stream. Let's turn this down just a bit. Let's see what's up with this this playlist here. It's lo-fi, sure, but is it lounge lo-fi? Okay, I can get behind that. This first story, and we'll see how far it goes. It's called Symphony of Desire. I don't need you talking over me, music. I thought you were cool. Switch back to that one. This first story, called Symphony of Desire. After one drunken Friday night, Vesper wakes up and finds herself on a bed, in a room, in an apartment she doesn't own, nor recognize. She discovers that the man who owns the place is the same man who she threw $1 at, insulted, and slapped, because she thought he was a perverted hobo who hovers around bars to make a pass at drunken girls. Turns out that pervert hobo guy owns 3 apartments, a Porsche, 7 hit songs, 3 Grammy Awards, and a broken heart paired with a damaged soul. Don't forget to add these things: a raging libido, a skilled mouth, dexterous fingers, and a certain something that may or may not have caused Vesper's eyes to go wide. Things are already getting hot. "What are you doing?" he said, cutting her off and continuing stepping toward her until they're a few centimeters away from each other. He looked on Vesper's blue eyes and, as usual, was transfixed by them. His eyes trailed down to her nose and then down to her full pink lips. Vesper looked at him. His green eyes are raking her face as if she's an artwork. Something changed in his eyes when his gaze traveled down to her lips. Something dark. She didn't even get the chance to protest his proximity to her, for the next thing she knew was that their bodies were pressed together with his chest pressed against her breasts. His hands cupped her face, tilting her head upwards, and then his lips descended on hers. His mouth was moving expertly against hers, coaxing her to respond. She put her hands on his chest to push him back, but his right hand caught both of her hands and pinned it above her head, while his other hand snaked around her waist, pulling her flush against his body. She struggled against his hold, but his grip was tight. Feisty as ever. Andre mumbled against her lips. He transferred his kisses to Vesper's jaw and then down to her neck. His lips were wreaking havoc on her senses, and his stubble was a pleasant friction against the soft skin of her neck, turning all of her sensible thoughts into mush. "Your mother is outside," Vesper mumbled breathlessly. His familiar scent wafted through her nostrils, something woodsy, something citrusy, something that screamed sex on legs. His intoxicating scent befuddled her mind, and she cursed herself for being so weak. Her eyes widened at the feel of his something that's definitely not his belt buckle pressing against the small of her stomach. He wickedly grinned. "That's the point. She's outside, so she can't see us." He nipped at Vesper's jaw and suckled on that sensitive spot on her neck. He moved toward her lips again and tasted her mouth from corner to corner. Sweet. So sweet, he said in between kisses. His tongue pushed at her teeth for entrance but didn't comply. He smirked against her lips, taking the denial as a challenge. The hand that's resting at her waist moved down and hiked her dress up, caressing the smooth skin of her thigh. He bit on her bottom lip, and that caused Vesper to moan in response, but her mouth remained closed. Vesper was horrified at the fact that her body was betraying her. She closed her eyes, giving in to his kisses. She couldn't suppress the moan that escaped her when he bit on her bottom lip. She knew that he's only doing it for entrance, so she held her ground and kept her mouth closed. The wheels on her head started to turn when she felt his hand tracing a path up her leg. Christ, on a bike, this man's kisses are lethal. She's a person with a very strong personality, but one touch of Andre's soft lips and she's pliant. Feeling herself losing control, she responded to his kisses with equal fervor, mouth still closed. You're shaming the entire female population, a part of her mind chided. She gasps in surprise when she felt his hands move to the middle of her legs and cupped her there. His tongue took the opportunity and delved into her mouth, his tongue dancing with hers. Indeed. That's part one. This is a very mature stream. I feel like that should be obvious, but in case you're just now joining in and you're wondering what the hell is going on. We're reading hot, very amateurish, no offense to the authors, smutty stories. And that's what we're doing today. Let me know if the music is distracting, because it's honestly distracting me. It's a bit much. We'll see. We're gonna take a moment to pause. Try to fix this playlist here. Give me one moment. There we go. It's too bougie. Well, I had to go a little bit over the top. I had a red one in mind that I did plan on wearing, but I felt like if I'm gonna go all out for the first episode, I might as well do it with this one. That's a little bit better. Shall we see what Vesper and Andre are up to now? See where this goes. Again, this is written by someone who is not a published author, I'm assuming. I don't wear it everywhere. I don't wear this everywhere. I think I should. I think society should let me. But I don't. So. Chapter 1. For the nth time, Margot, I'm not going out tonight, groaned Vesper. Her friend Margot was the one in charge with articles about new places that people could explore. Things that require getting out of their fancy office. Like this new club that she's coercing Vesper to go. Pretty please, my deadline is on Monday and I haven't written anything fun yet. Anything fun? This is a woman's magazine, not a joke book. Go. And it's Friday. I just want to go home and curl up in a ball and sleep. Plus, my shift's already up and I'm not yet done with this quiz. Vesper, on the other hand, writes about books and music. Things that don't require going out and could be done at home or in the office. She also writes weekly quizzes and posts them in the magazine's website. Don't be a party popper, Vez, Margot pouted. Tell me, when's the last time you got shit-faced? Oh wait, let me guess. Never. Vesper pursed her lips. She was never wild, but she was also not a nun. She did get shit-faced once. It was her 21st birthday then, and when she woke up the next morning with a head-splitting headache. Of course not, Vesper spat. Okay, then my guess was wrong, but I'm sure you only got shit-faced once in your 25 years of existence, Margot said, an eyebrow raising, clearly challenging Vesper to deny the truth of her statement. Vesper raised her middle finger and shoved it in Margot's face. Truer words have never been spoken. Come on, Vez. Just this once, please, Margot continued. Aw, Margot, Vesper cooed. My answer is still a no. God damn it, Vesper. You know the box set of the Game of Thrones books? The ones you have been having wet dreams about? Well, I'm going to buy you that if you come with me tonight. Vesper's jaw fell. She has read all the books in the series, but it was an e-book provided by the magazine. She's a sucker for real things. Real books that you could sniff. CDs that you could touch. Chessboards that you can actually move by picking it up and not by swiping or tapping on a silly tablet. Concrete things. And Margot knows this. Man, she's been ogling the box set for quite some time. I love and hate you at the same time. Go, Vesper muttered. I know, honey, I know. So what outfit should I put on? Is it a high-end club that requires sophisticated clothing? Asked Vesper. So you really going? Margot squealed in delight. Of course, you little wench. You just used my geekiness against me. And by the way, the series is called A Song of Ice and Fire. A Game of Thrones is only the first book in the series. Blah, blah, blah. Vesper Nichols, first of her name, Queen of the Geeks, mother of delicious home-baked cookies, breaker of pencils, Khaleesi of the great parquet, apartment and shit. Don't bother for an outfit. I'll help you in that department. I'll drop by your apartment with an outfit for you. Be ready to be my dress-up doll at around 8 o'clock. The club opens at 9. Very, very funny. And no, Margot Collins, you are not dressing me up. Last time you dressed me up, I ended up having my ass squeezed by a random scumbag. That's because I did a very good job and made you look smoking hot. Ugh. Come on, go away now. Scoot, scoot. I'll be home after a little while. Vesper shooed Margot away. Alrighty then. Margot already exited Vesper's cubicle, but her head popped up a few seconds later. And I almost forgot to add, you're in desperate need of a good lay, Vesper. Margot's head successfully dodged the pencil that Vesper threw. The plans, they've been made. Vesper went home after finishing the quiz and proceeded to shower. She was blowing her hair dry when Margot knocked. Vesper opened the door. Punctual, as always, Miss Collins. Margot's wearing a navy blue spaghetti strap bustier dress that stopped mid-thigh, and on her feet were a pair of silver peep-toe pumps. And looking very rad, too. She wolf whistled. That's a wolf whistle. Thanks, honey. I have the perfect outfit for you, Margot giddily exclaimed. She continued to Vesper's room and started to fish out things from her bag. Vesper followed, and her eyes widened when she saw the outfit that was on her bed. Geez, Margot, I am not wearing that scrap of cloth. It was a white bustier bra top and floral high-waist shorts. On the floor was a pair of black ankle-strapped heels. But Vesper, they're perfect for you. No, Vesper answered with finality. But hey, at least I like the shoes. She checked out the shoes and they fit her perfectly. Actually, I have another top for you. I figured out you won't want to wear this top, so I brought another one. Margot brought out a white lace crop top and flung it at Vesper. This one's not bad, but I am so not wearing those shorts. Ugh, Vesper, what are you gonna wear? Sweatpants? You still need to do your hair and makeup, so hurry up. Indeed, Story. Hurry up. Actually, I have a very nice pair of high-waist pants that I haven't worn yet. This is a part that is not in a lot of smutty stories, and it's the build-up, the anticipation. I'll continue. Pants? Ugh. Margot rolled her eyes. All right, let me see it. Vesper rummaged through her closet. Found it. She flung it at Margot. It's not bad. Come on, sit down and I'll start weaving magic on your hair. Margot curled Vesper's hair and after thoroughly blow-drying it, she then proceeded to put makeup on Vesper's face. Just light makeup. Go. I don't want to look like a clown, Vesper mumbled. Yes, ma'am. After a few minutes, Margot was done dolling Vesper up. Feast your eyes, honey. She took a step back to admire her work. The white crop top was perfectly cupping Vesper's well-endowed chest, and the tight, high-waist jeans were showcasing Vesper's slender legs. The black heels added a few inches to Vesper's already tall height. What do you think? I'm good, right? I love it. Go. I realize she's saying go as a shortening for Margot, but that was not implied. I love it, Go. Thanks for making me look like a person, but no thanks for blackmailing me into going with you into the sleazy club instead of sleeping tonight. Ha! I'll take that as a compliment. And I'm telling you that the club ain't sleazy. Vesper was also impressed with her look tonight. Her blue eyes were framed with light gray eyeshadow paired with simple winged eyeliner, and her pink lips were glossy. Her dark hair was in contrast with her white crop top and her cream complexion. After a quick retouch of Margot's makeup, they were ready to go. Let's go now, Vez. Move your pretty ass. Margot smacked Vesper's behind and they... I apologize. Margot smacked Vesper's behind and they both giggled. Vesper grabbed her clutch and shuffled out of the apartment. She locked the door and followed Margot to the elevator. Are we using my car? No, I brought mine. Plus, we wouldn't look very hot coming out of a blue convertible Volkswagen Beetle, babe. Margot answered. Hey, just because your car is a sleek Audi doesn't give you the right to insult mine, okay? I love my car. It's my parents' graduation gift to me and it works perfectly fine, thank you. Whatever you say, come on now, we don't want to be late, Margot said, and they both walked to the Audi. They arrived at the club after a few minutes' drive. The neat calligraphy stated that the club's name was Acropolis. The exterior of the club looks classy with Greek columns, golden doors, and a red carpet on the staircase. Totally in contrast with Vesper's first thoughts of it being a sleazy club filled with smoke fumes and drunkards swaying here and there. There's a short queue of people in the front door, and the parking was already full, so they decided to park a few blocks away. Do you want to retouch? 'Cause I'm gonna retouch, Margot said, shoving her makeup kit to Vesper. I'm good. I'll just comb my hair a little. Mind if I get out of the car first? I want to stretch my legs. Why don't you just meet me at the entrance and save a spot for us in the line? Margot was currently puckering her lips while applying her red lipstick. Okay, that's a good idea. Meet me at the entrance. Shuffling out of Margot's car, Vesper fixed her top and combed her hair. She crossed the street and walked to the entrance of the club. Vesper was a few meters away from the queue out of the club when... Ow! She yelped. She heard another person say shit as she tripped on something. Someone, rather. Good thing she didn't fall flat on her face. She looked at the person sitting on the sidewalk. His long legs were sprawled out, and his long, shoulder-length curly hair was covering his face. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you. Why the hell is this man sitting on the sidewalk with his legs sprawled out? Vesper thought. Maybe because he's homeless, duh. The man was clutching his left leg, the one she tripped on. Are you okay? I must be nice. This man might snap and beat the living daylights out of me. I'm really sorry. She fished for $1 in her clutch and put it on the man's lap. Here, take this. The man gingerly picked up the dollar and examined it, eyebrows scrunching in confusion. Vesper hurriedly walked away, thinking he might ask for $5 or something. God forbid. Hey, wait! Hey, I said wait! The man shouted. I already said I'm sorry. I really am. Please don't bother me anymore, Vesper said, quickly walking away. Hey, will you just stop walking? The man continued. She can hear his footfalls behind her. She's about to run when a hand grabbed her arm and then snaked around her waist. She closed her eyes, bracing herself for the impact of the blow. She waited, but still there was nothing. She opened her eyes and saw a pair of murky green eyes staring back at her. Excuse me, miss, but why did you give me this dollar? The man's narrowed eyes showed that he's clearly pissed. Vesper had to look up because the man was tall. A couple of inches taller than her, even with her 5'8" height and 3-inch heels. He must be around 6'5" or something. Very tall. He's wearing a denim jacket over a red and black flannel shirt. His shoulder-length curly hair was brown, and she could now see that the man had a strong 5 o'clock shadow. Do you want more? $5, perhaps? She nervously replied. The man scowled. She's completely aware of the man's hand around her waist, heating up the parts where her skin met his. I don't need your money, he spat, throwing the dollar back at her. He removed his hands and Vesper's skin instantly went cold. Well then, I'm sorry, mister. I was just trying to help you, she spat back. Ungrateful hobo, she muttered under her breath. What? The man's nose flared. Nothing. She slowly backed away. You said something. He clearly noticed that she's walking away, so he was now walking towards her. I said, she met his eyes and put on a determined look on her face. You are an ungrateful hobo, asshole. He was advancing towards her, and in one quick flash, her chest slammed against his. The fuck? Are you calling me a hobo and an asshole? The man bent his head down, bringing her face close to his. They're both staring intently at each other, his warm, minty breath fanning her face. His scent wafted through her nostrils, momentarily winding her with how intoxicating it was. You heard that right, you hobo asshole. That's original. He chuckled, his scowl turning into a grin. She gasped when she felt his hands cupping her buttocks. Her eyes went wide and her hand flew to his face. Holy shit, he muttered, cupping his left cheek. Serves you right, you pervert hobo, she yelled. He was momentarily stunned, so she took the chance and immediately ran toward the club. Stupid pervert hobo must be hovering around clubs to make a pass at drunk girls, she thought. She finally reached the queue and was glad that the asshole was nowhere in sight. Vesper, where the hell have you been? Margot's eyebrows are knit together. My God, Go. Some pervert hobo grasped me and then squeezed my ass, Vesper replied, panting. Excuse me, what was that? I was walking on the sidewalk when I tripped on the man. He was sitting down with his legs sprawled out. I didn't see him at first, that's why I tripped. I apologized and gave him $1. And I think he got mad because he wanted $5 or something. He grasped my arms and then asked me why I gave him $1. I asked him if he wants more and he got pissed. Told me that he doesn't need my money, so I told him he was an ungrateful hobo, and then he went closer and squeezed my ass. I slapped him and then I ran away. Vesper rambled. That's crazy. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? Margot lifted Vesper's arm and turned her around. I'm fine. Let's just go inside. He might be anywhere. Okay, you look like you need a drink. The interior of the club was really impressive, too. There were Greek columns inside. The white walls were in contrast with the colorful lights swirling on it. To the left was the bar, and in front was a small stage. The tables and couches were on the right side. There's a clear space in the middle for a dance floor. The second floor of the club was open, and in the middle was a balcony. All in all, the club looked sophisticated. It might even pass for a fine dining restaurant. Wow, this place is fabulous. We need to taste the food and grab a drink. Margot tugged Vesper along to an empty couch. They called a waiter and both of them settled for a martini and a Greek salad. This place is actually very classy. I take back what I said earlier, except for the getting my ass squeezed part. I can't blame the man, Vez. I already told you that you look smoking tonight. Vesper just rolled her eyes at Margot. Hey, I thought we were against the objectification of women. We are. And speaking of objectification, those guys are definitely checking us out, Margot said, and they both looked at two guys that were blatantly checking them out. The blonde one even winked at them. Vesper scoffed. After finishing their drinks and salads, they stood up and went around the place. Even the bathrooms were classy. Cream walls and gold details on the mirrors and sinks. The second floor was pretty much the same, except that it had a few rooms for a more private gathering, and that the middle part was open like a balcony. I must say that the owner did a very good job in decorating the place. This must have cost a fortune, don't you think, Go? And speaking of the owner, I need to go find him or her and ask him for an interview. Well, then let's ask the bartender, or the waiter, perhaps. They headed for the bar and sat down. The bartender immediately handed them glasses of margaritas. Compliments from the lads over there. Just thought I would do an accent. Said the bartender while pointing to the guys who were checking them out earlier. Should we accept it? Vesper asked. Why not? And the reason why we're here is to have fun and to probably get shit-faced. Margot raised her glass to the main and downed its contents. Easy, Go. You still need to find the owner and ask for an interview. Vesper sipped her drink. Another round of drinks arrived. Cosmopolitans this time. Still from the lads over there, ma'am, muttered the bartender. Do they want to talk, or do they just want to keep sending us drinks? Vesper suspiciously asked. She glanced at the men, and they just winked back. Excuse me, Margot said to the bartender. Do you know where the owner of the place is? We're from a magazine, and we'd like to interview the owner. You're in luck, ma'am. Sir Fred is just right over there. The bartender pointed to a man wearing a gray suit. Thank you very much. Margot smiled sweetly and then turned to Vesper. Do you want to come with me? You could also ask him some questions. No thanks, I'll just sit here. These heels are killing me. I can't even fathom how you could walk in yours. Silly girl, you sure you'll be okay here? Positive. Margot grabbed her drink, stood up, and walked towards the owner of the club. Vesper was sipping her drink when one of the guys who were sending them, the blonde one, sat on the bar stool that Margot vacated. Hello, pretty. Are you alone, or are you waiting for someone? Where's your friend? The man grinned, flashing Vesper a set of perfectly pearly whites. We work for a magazine, and my friend just went to interview the owner of the club. Thanks for the drinks, by the way. Seeing that Vesper's cosmopolitan is already finished, the man called the bartender and whispered something. The bartender arrived with another round of drinks. I hope you like vodka. The man handed her a glass and deliberately brushed his fingers against Vesper's. Thanks. Please go away, dude. Please go away, she thought. So what's your name, sweetheart? I'm Kurt. The man offered his hand. My name's Vesper. She took his hand and shook it. Kurt took his sweet time before letting go of Vesper's hand. What do you do at the magazine? Model? He deliberately brushed his knees against Vesper. Vesper tilted her knees away and replied, No, I'm a writer. I write about books and music, and I also write quizzes. Shame. You should be modeling or acting with the way you look, sweetie. He gave her a flirty grin. Vesper faked a smile. She glanced to where Margot was, but she didn't see her or the owner of the club. Where did she go? She gulped her drink to calm herself. How about you? What do you do? Vesper continued to take little sips of her drink. Kurt smiled. Why the hell is he always grinning and smirking? Is there something wrong on my face? Vesper thought. I own a shop that does custom work for cars and motorcycles. That's very interesting. It is, Kurt replied, smirking again. Is there something funny on my face? Because you keep on smirking and grinning that I'm getting self-conscious in here. He laughed. No, sweetheart. The only thing that's on your face is your beauty. Sure, thanks. She took another gulp of her drink. She can already feel her head getting light. I'm just stating facts. He was satisfied to see that Vesper was unconsciously drinking more than she could take. He was also satisfied that Vesper was still unaware that her drink was continuously being filled. Thanks for the drinks and the nice chat, but I like to be left alone, Vesper said while pinching her arms to wake herself. I understand. But would you please have a last drink with me before I let you go? I don't think I would like another drink, Kurt. That's fine. Just finish up what's on your glass. Vesper nodded and downed the contents of her glass. Kurt mentally counted the drinks that Vesper had consumed, and figured out that she'd be wobbling in a few minutes. He smiled to himself, imagining the things he could do with her. It's been fun talking with you, Vesper. He took her hand and kissed it. He didn't bother to ask for a number, since he's pretty sure she'll be ending up in his bed after a while. Yeah, sure. Kurt stood up and left. Vesper shook her head a few times and slapped her cheeks. Where is Margot? She stood up and the place started to spin. She clutched her head and held onto the bar stool for support. Cold water. Cold water would do the trick. She walked slowly towards the bathroom, holding onto the nearby chairs to keep herself from falling. What was in that vodka? Oh shit, could it be roofies? No, the drink was clear and I'll sure see if a pill was in it, she thought. Could it be a stronger kind of vodka? Fuck, I must be getting to the bathroom immediately. She was a few feet away from the bathroom entrance when someone grabbed her and pinned her to the wall. Let me go, she hissed, the pounding on her head becoming stronger. This is taking a turn. Forget me already, sweetheart? She recognized the voice as Kurt's. She was terrified when she saw the look of lust on his face. He pulled her arms onto her back and planted kisses on her neck. She thrashed against him. Get your hands off me! Her screams were drowned by the loud music. Not so fast, sweetie. Fuck off! Somebody help me! He clamped his hands over her mouth and kissed Vesper's neck. She was seething with anger and was very much disgusted. She took deep breaths and thought of a plan. Then she stomped her heels on his foot and kneed him in the groin. You bitch! He squealed, clutching his groin. She ran toward the door and staggered down the stairs. She kept on running, but then she tripped on the street gutter and fell face flat into the hood of a car. I must stay awake, she thought, but she could feel the fatigue and the alcohol overtaking her senses. I must stay awake. I must stay awake. I must. Her eyelids dropped and her consciousness slowly faded away. End of part 1. Or chapter 1. Interesting turn. We're going to take a quick break. I need to drink some water, and we'll be right back with chapter 2. Okay, so I read ahead a little bit, and there is some not great characteristics of the main character that problematic would be the word of the day. And I know the whole purpose of this is to read some saucy stories, but we're gonna go ahead and hop off of that story. We're gonna move on to something else. Okay, so like I said just a minute ago, it's the last story was a bit problematic, so I figured we could probably switch to do something a little bit different. And I found something better. It is going to be a little bit sillier, but again, this is not professional. This is not like I'm reading this off of Wattpad to give you some context. So these are people just submitting stories, and that's what it is. This is called Back Alley Cats by Big Daddy Bam Bam. This is so much better already. Synopsis. It is 2077. The world is bizarre and there are far less people. Thank God. It has been 50 years since the rupture left the world in tatters. Plagues have disintegrated cultures and thinned civilizations. In this new world order, proximity of the body is unavoidable and proximity of the heart is unacceptable. Women are hailed as beacons of light, vessels of hope. They bear the cure. Men are the dying embers and empty husks of society. They carry the affliction. To survive and arrest humanity's extinction, men need to partake in distinct sexual arrangements, which they pay with coin or bars of gold. This is a story on how the oldest profession became a celebrated necessity in post-apocalyptic Earth. The cats purr and dare you to watch closer, because nothing is as normal as it seems. So relax, bring a warm saucer of milk, and lay down your oversexed hearts on the Back Alley Cats. I need to pause. I apologize for wasting everybody's time with that first story, because I am already in. Probably should have read ahead for this story as well, but fuck it. In all honesty, fuck it. Okay. With that synopsis, with that outline, let's get into it. Chapter 1. Cat got your tongue? New World Order, Decree 69th, Section 1 of 2, of Roosters and Hens. If you are born to cluck, 1. You must enlist the day after your first menstruation. Transition includes, but is not limited to, A. Orientation, B. Grooming, C. And training. 2. You do not work in the same island with your parents. Considered a necessary pain to avoid. A. Proximity, B. Emotions, C. And influence. 3. You are not to complain unless you desire to be exiled. 4. A madam's word is the only word that matters. 5. You do not claim love unless death is desired. Considered a subsection to avoid. A. Preference, B. Ownership, C. Freeloaders. If you are born to peck, 1, you are to visit our pubs each day to milk. 2, you are to visit our pubs each day to get milked. 3, you are to comply with subsections 1 and 2 or recluse yourself to death. I don't think that's the right word, but anywho. New World Order, Decree 69th, Section 2 of Huddles and Cuddles. If you are with client, 1, you are given 5 minutes to prepare before a session. Preparation includes, but is not limited to A, tools, B, costumes, C, and client review. 2, you do as you're told. Considered necessary to achieve A, client trust, B, client satisfaction, C, good reviews. 3, you are not to do other than what you were told. Consider necessary to avoid A, client distrust, B, client dissatisfaction, C, bad reviews. 4, a client's word is the only word that matters in a session. And 5, proximity of the body is unavoidable. Oh, it continues. Proximity of the heart is unacceptable. It's part 6. Considered a subsection to preserve A, formalities, B, professionalism, C, devotion to the manifesto. This is a lot. This is a lot of like pretext and just, hey, just in case you weren't sure, this is what kind of world we live in. Here are the rules. It's like every YA novel where they're trying to build a world in the first couple of chapters and you're just like, oh my God, get to the main protagonist already. If you are without client, 1, you are allowed to do any of the following. A, perform a complete body check for visible nicks or cuts. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm here. B, perform muscle training and body conditioning exercises. C, read prescribed paraphernalia in the Alley Cat Emporium. D, eat from a prescribed list of foods to regain and maintain sustenance. The best habits were the old ones. It all began in the Tomba della Fustigazione, or the Tomb of Flogging in the late 6th century BC. The ritual sparked a chain of carnalities that further birthed crude ways to sate the body, pleasures, and appetites. Power exchange, as it was fondly called. It has been an exploit then and now. The old habits were the best ones, because it was easy to fall back on them. Man especially adored the most pleasurable conventions, no matter how desecrating they may appear to be. Flogging, whipping, prostitution, domination, submission, all these cultural evils we had to come to know, and secretly liked, were now a celebrated necessity. Man needs sex. This could never be farther from the truth, more so when banalities ended 5 decades ago, where the world saw the rupture. The rupture was an event that shook the earth to its core. Just like a shooting star, it shone and faded in a matter of seconds. And when it did, the planet stopped. It started as a flicker from the sun. The glimmer swiftly became a tsunami of light, washing and enveloping the world. Humanity thought it was the second coming, hoping and praying that angels would descend from heaven above to bring us salvation. But they were wrong. Instead, light broke the earth and fanned the flames of extinction. The episode realigned the planets, causing Mother Earth to buckle and move a few steps back. Astronomers, what is left of them anyway, believe that Mars really was uninhabitable. I hate this word. Inhabitable, especially now that it got nudged off its 4th ring. Mercury and Venus were shattered and had now become gossamer sheets of cosmos, thick enough to shield us from the harsh Helios. What happened was eerily serendipitous. No one could have predicted it, not even the Mayans. It would explain why the universe placed us in the 4th ring, where the red planet used to be. Gaia could have ended like her sisters if it were any closer. What occurred was an unwelcome milestone. It impacted the heart of our planet. Where's the sex? This is a lot. I apologize for just interrupting, but like, come on. Continents were reduced to rubble. Technology receded to its bare minimum. Growth was stunted. We became static. We lost hope. Now what we are left with were mere islands. And I am in one of them. A lot of diseases and newfound strains plagued the scene. For the very few that were left, there was nothing more alarming than the prospect of complete annihilation as the men began to shrivel and die. Shortly, our numbers thinned. Population could not catch up with mortality. It was a very tight race. The theoretical physicists, doctors, and microbiologists did what they could to chase after what little time we had left. Their efforts bore fruit, but it was not fruit without decay. The solution was only temporary. They are yet to find out more. They are yet to discover a permanent cure. Conclusive evidence is stipulated that cosmic radiation triggered a hormonal imbalance in men at a cellular level. If they were to live, they had to come daily. Easy enough, as well as be fed with a woman's essence. The findings led us to know where we are now, a world of kinky fuckery. I'm sorry. I was not expecting kinky fuckery to be something that I said today. Promise I'll be serious. There is one particular hostelry in Golden Pond Island called the Back Alley Cat's Pub that offered such debauchery. Each playhouse in every island is manned by a woman, a madam. And at the bottom of the whoring food chain is Madame Moreau Versailles, head mistress of the Back Alley Cats. She has served men and kept her legs open half her life. She is now retired. Her dearest cohorts, colleagues, manservants, and wenches call her Madame Moreau, or M. However, you are to reduce her name to a letter only if you have known her very dearly. New recruits dare not call her the letter if they value what is between their legs. The BAC pub, or Pussy Pub, Pussy Pub, as men would distastefully call it, is one of their very few, if not the best club out there. It is a grand estate, a palace, but mostly a home to several whorehouses, overseen by Madame Moreau. It also houses various political factions, ruled by High Regent Harkadet Setkas. People just have new made-up names in 2077. Moreau's methods were classic, innovative, extreme, and whimsical. Membership offered access to a great range of tools and girls. Wares include chains, ball gags, jiggle balls, paddles, nipple clamps, bondage scarves, thrusting rabbits, cuffs, plugs, crops, whips, flogs, body tape, love eggs, and spreader bars, all the way to St. Andrew's Cross, just to name a few. That was actually more than a few. Wenches include golden girls, ice blondes, sultry brunettes, redheads, and auburn heads. The works. The cats do what they can to line their pockets, but do nothing to fill their hearts, unless death is desired as stipulated in the Decree 69th, Section 1 of 2. Many seek the brothel for solace. Ruined men, abused women, and minors. Nope, everyone here is 18 or more. They all lived here. Add the long list of body mod enthusiasts, latex or rubber aficionados, and middle-aged kinky fucks. The Back Alley Cat does and service them all. And they make them come again and again and again. Oh boy, they do. Care to join them? They promise to make you come and milk you to your last drop. Cat got your tongue? Perfect. That was chapter 1. I need a second. Kinky fuckery. I believe there's only 2 chapters, so we're going to finish up the stream with this final chapter real quick. I mean, it's It's got a length, so you're good. It's got a length is another thing I didn't think I would have to say today, but here we go. Chapter 2 of Catnips and Catnaps. In the eyes of a boatman, Golden Pawn Island is rapture, a piece of heaven that has fallen from the sky, yet it houses no angels. Old Victorian structures piece together a picturesque view of the floating city, worthy of the brushstrokes of famous painters from centuries past. Falcons breathe life into the air as they hover the arcane constitutions of the hostelry. The crimson sky is their backdrop. With every row the boatman does with his paddle is a step closer to the promised land. He tries his best to cling to what little hope he has, for he does not have much to go on. Within him lies the desire of every man, a cure that will rid his body of the plague it was born with, to claim the normalcy of the old world. That is their dream. He knows his way around every inlet surrounding several islands. Hitherto, he has not set foot in any of them. Not for more than a couple of days, at least. He not so much longs a woman's touch, for he has had many. What he needs is love, to feel the touch of a woman's heart. There are days when he had to practically beg for essence from the crestfallen, who, just like him, are outcasts, spewed by the New World Order for defying the carnalities of the Regency. Well, not that they outright defied the decrees. It was just that they had to be casted off, for they do not possess the funding or the resources to maintain such standard of living. His boat hits the dock, his hands still at the sight of a woman wearing tatters. She gathers drinking water from a dry well. He steps off his boat, carefully tying it to a rock. He slows his breathing, careful not to scare his prey. The unsuspecting victim knows of the presence, yet cannot predict precise movements. The scene is one of quiet desperation, much like a hungry lion eyeing a precious solitary deer in the deep forest. The woman shrugs the feeling, blaming it on years of paranoia. She stands slender, frail, not an ounce of fat in her body. A harpist could play the strings in her torso. A doctor would gasp at the protruding bones. She is a hideously beautiful melody waiting to be played. The boatman inches closer behind the shadows of rocks. Stealth is his comrade, abrupt movements his adversary. His feet glide steadily, carefully treading the path towards the bringer of salvation. He remains cautious, afraid to startle the only woman he has seen for hours. His arms ache for the required task of rowing to scour nearby islands for a free meal. Now that he has seen one, he gives no mind to letting it go. Helios is about to set in the horizon. The man feels restless at the thought of darkness. His eyes constrict at the sight of exposed neck, freed by the movement of dark raven hair that slowly hurl like a caress from left to right. He never expected to see beautiful alabaster skin up close. Her beauty strengthens his resolve to ravage her. Desperation pushes him to react, making him jump his prey from behind the rocks. The beautiful animal thrashes against him, knowing full well what the man needed, what the man craved. She stills. There is a glint of approval in her dark, sultry eyes. She is a leviathan. She is dangerous. A perverted nuance of a smile paints her lips. However strongly her heart feels against the injustice, she has learned to succumb to the normalcy of the situation. It is clear that this is not her first time at the rodeo. This is just one of the many days that this has happened. I feel disgusted. Disgusting. Her body rests, but her heart speeds. Do it, she hisses, provoking the grungy feral creature before her. Years have not been kind to the boatman, yet his face does not show his true age. One can make a diplomat out of him by taking a blade to his tresses and facial hair. He is charming without saying words, and he knows this. Knowing his advances would not be rejected fuels his confidence to hop from one island to another. His air of mystery and handsome looks have aroused many women. It allows him survival from one day to the next, certain that he would not shrivel and die of the New World disease. The pale woman lifts the hem of her tatters to reveal the junction of thighs. The junction of her thighs. With rapture, the handsome man eyes the apex between the legs. He shakes heatedly at the prospect of chastising the lovely specimen. And so he drops to his knees, burying his scruffy face against the thin gossamer that is covering the woman's lady bits. He nuzzles greedily through the fabric, breathing her in. Lady Tatters snakes her fingers into the boatman's dark hair. Her body flares tumultuously at the feeling of warm desecration. Without respite, he whips her undergarments down, making layers of tattered fabric pool at her feet. His eyes regard her with veneration. He respects her. His hands carefully glide to caress the smooth shins of her legs, as if waiting for her to order his next move. Lick, she compels, a single salacious word which holds so much meaning that it speaks volumes to the man. Her look is tantalizing. Veneration turns to desecration as the man nuzzles her. She tastes of sweet submission and promise as the man's tongue moves past each heated fold. Moans of dark pleasure escape her mouth. She enjoys the familiar feeling of abuse from a welcome stranger. By the gods, fuck me, please, she rasps in desperation. I shall, he whispers, against her cavernous haven. With a look of wonder, his face comes into view from between her legs. Her lips glisten with essence, evidence that he had had his fill. He is blessed to live another day. Hitherto, it did not prevent him from engaging her courtesy. With shaky limbs, she breaks from him and slinks toward the perimeter of the well. She moves to seduce as her hands jerked at the soiled satin ribbon in front of her morning dress. Her hands clasp tightly around the circumference of the cobble, and then bends over. The warmth of her chest meets the coldness of rock as she leans forward. With the edge of the well cradling her bosom, she finds her balance and spreads her expectant legs. The brooding boatman spits to lubricate himself. He positions, presses, and then sinks. His mouth forms into a perfect O, surprising at the tightness of a woman he expects to be loose. Groans of longing and desire claw their way out of his throat. He aches as he appreciates her tight heat. She screams in pain. The penetration is thick, slick, raw, painful, and well lubricated. His thrusts are painful, slow, as if to torture her more. The air is so still that anyone close by can hear the sound of muscles stick, clench, and contract. He moans at the sucking quality of her nether lips. He pretty much knows that a woman such as she will be loose and unsavory, but he is wrong. So wrong that it feels so right. His hands move about in front of her, searching, palming, and groping her breasts with a desperation that he himself is surprised to realize. What is your name? Her words ride and grate with delight as she gets violated and defiled. Silas, he whispers as he sinks deeper against the forceful folds of her contractions. Do you have children? She appeals, in staccato breaths as the hungry man pounds her. Had. Everyone died. He manages words between thrusts and shallow breaths. Good. Now, fuck me. And so he does. Furiously. Rapidly. Torridly. She tips her head back, then clamps the sides of Silas's thighs. She's never been used quite like this before. There's a dull ache in her chest that threatens to capture and blanket her heart. What is this I feel, is what she asks herself. Are we making love? She decides to trust him with her name. Callista. What? He sees through clenched teeth as he rams her. The more he pushes against her, the more he loses portion of himself and his consciousness. My name. Do not stop. Her chest heaves every word as she receives him inch by inch. And so, with insatiable hunger, he obliges. Feverishly, rapidly, hungrily. Callista feels her release near, gathering and pooling dangerously south in that sheer layer against the folds of her opening. Her hands grip tighter at Silas's thighs, coaching him to quicken. Callista, I'm going to come. Is it okay if I do it inside of you? I don't care. Just please do not cease your movement. Her body shudders as her mounds push a release so strong that it feels like an out-of-body experience. The feeling numbs her, shrouding all sense of thought and reason. She dissolves into pure sensation, lost in a quagmire of pleasure as her muscles thrum, shake, and savor the euphoric strands of a mind-blowing orgasm. Silas's engorged organ pokes against the sensation of lustrous silk. It coats him completely from base to tip. He withdraws steadily, only to plunge quickly. He has a few more strokes before he breaks. It is a difficult fight as shrapnels of delight shoot up and down his shaft. He groans as he feels himself near. He knows full well that his body can only take so much before it detonates. He is running out of room to restrain the pressure. It builds too fast, becoming too hard to contain, so he lets his body lose control. He rubs furiously against her back as his fingers twist her nipples. Just like Callista, he tips his head back. He bellows as he sensuously fills an estranged woman, the most beautiful animal he has ever seen. His strong arms cling around her desperately as his entirety struggles to claim and possess her. It is clear that he wants her to be his. By the gods, his mouth slacks against her nape. He struggles with his breath as he rides out an orgasm that has sapped him of his strength. Thank you. You have my gratitude, are the words he speaks with bated breath. And you have my heart, is her confession, a dire petition of her love for him. And with those words, Silas feels a weight lifted off his shoulders. He has found what he is looking for. Oh, Callista. We're gonna pause there. There's more. Just a little bit more, but we're gonna take a quick break. And then we'll finish up. Because we don't have that much more. So let me get more water. 2 minutes max. we're gonna go ahead and actually call that. Unfortunately, I had something come up. So, thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Nick Reed's Smut. I don't know if we're gonna do this again. This was just kind of a fun experiment. But if you liked it, you liked it. I don't know if I can. Thank you. I don't know if this is something that I could technically put literally anywhere. So we're just gonna keep this here, see how long it lasts, and yeah, tell your friends. I'll do more if people say they want more. I don't know how well I did, but thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. We'll see you next time.